Greetings, duelist, and welcome to another video. This is another episode of Shower Thoughts. For those who don't know what that is, I basically talk about some stuff that have been weighing on my mind involving the game, not exactly gameplay or exactly like deck strategies or deck choices, but more about trends that I've noticed in like the game that I feel like are kind of worth discussing. Today's topic is another controversial one, and I know some people are not a fan of those, but it is something I am testing in this channel, and whether or not I feel like making more of them, we'll just have to wait and see. So the topic of today is Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Before we talk about the topic, I kind of want to say, same as every other Shower Thoughts video, please be civil and please be polite when it comes to commenting on these kind of videos. The perspective stuff does matter, and I do actually want to see other sides of the coins with this discussion, but at the same time, I kind of don't want it to become like a bloodbath debate, whether who is right or wrong on the matter. All right, so for those who don't know, there has been recent discussions on this card by multiple other people that are known in this TCG, and it kind of sparked the debate whether or not this card's like hit on the OCG and Master Duel were warranted. So the first thing we need to talk about is, what is the main discussion at hand with this card? So, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, out of every hand trap in the game, is probably the most versatile one that we have. Very recently, when it comes to deck building, at least like in my perspective, I just arrived to the conclusion that there's almost no reason to not play this card if you can play this card. Like, I'll give you the perfect example, like my deck report from last week with Malice. I was looking for non-engine to play in that deck, and sadly the first card that came into mind was Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. The number one reason for it is because it is a check for the most charming monsters. And I know that a lot of people don't like it when we have hand trap wars. I'm not a fan of it myself either. But it is that dichotomy that we live in when we see combo strategies being popular in the game. Like, these three cards are probably in most of people's main and or side deck right now. And like, the debate whether or not Ash is warranted to check these cards, some people like that discussion, some people don't like the discussion. One thing that I will say that I noticed out of this card is that, like, this card is just really that strong utility wise on countering these cards. These cards almost have no counterplay outside of this and something like Called by the Grave, which is another discussion in itself. But yeah, that is like the first debate. My stance on this is that my issue is never the Mo Charmies themselves, but what is the Mo Charmy being played alongside with? If the deck that you're playing, that playing a Mo Charmy in their strategy is one of those really oppressive, strong combo decks, then half-boards are just not good enough in the game, because there are some really aggressive strategies that just capitalize on your half-boards that you're trying to do to play around these cards. And that's where the Ash Blossom comes in. It just becomes that necessary evil against these cards if you're facing a really strong combo deck. If you're facing a mid-range deck, which is the actual goal behind like slowing down the combo decks with these cards, then you could make the bait that just making half boards and giving your opponents like 2 or 3 draws, then just warrants like being played into without any real other side quests needed. So that's like one other debate on the matter. I have I won't lie to you if I said that I've won every match against Molcharmy Wars. Like, that's not true by the slightest. I have had games where I've had played against Molcharmies, and even multiple Molcharmies at that, and I have faced against them in a periodical degree where I could actually do a soft board and be fine with the soft boards that I'm making. That not every game is like that. I've even had aggressive games where I've even took the Molcharmy challenge, and my opponent just didn't do really strong for the end board that I ended up making. I've seen people make really strong side like end boards and give your opponent over 20 cards, and at the end the opponent really have they just end up getting punished because the opponent just has way too many cards to work with. So yeah, like, as far as the Molcharmy Wars come in, I really don't like it. I am not a fan of it being a thing. Like, if it were up to me, I try to play against this type of mentality. But sadly, it is something that you have to see in the meta game, especially if you're playing combo decks. The second thing that Ash Blossom does that I feel like is warranted the debate is stopping a lot of really degenerate stuff from happening in the game. There are a lot of really strong FTKs and OTKs still in this game, and Ash Blossom does a very fair thing on checking them. I think until we actually get cards that are around Ash Blossom's level, it's really tough to warrant just hitting Ash Blossom into multiples, or like just having it limited or even straight up gone from the game, because it is just that strong of a card and that versatile of a card against the more roguish strategies or those wild strategies that are out there. I will give props to Konami. We are getting close. Like, we have Dominus Purge, which is very, very close to comparison to Ash Blossom. And if you know and read Dominus Purge correctly, like, Dominus Purge cannot be used against a Molcharmy, which is a really funny dichotomy that we have, because Dominus Purge and Perulia were both printed in the same set. If I recall correctly, which means they actually made the Dominus cards with the Molcharmy cards in mind. They already knew that wars involving these cards were going to happen, and they kind of wanted to prevent another one, so they didn't. So they gave the strong stipulation on the Dominus cards to work along the lines of, like, your opponent needing to control a card, while the Molcharmies are the opposite. Your opponent cannot control a card. So I think that was like smart deck building, or I mean card building when it came to this card. If you notice, we are getting more and more Dominus traps as of late. I think they're not done with Dominus traps. They might just make a few more other ones, and we'll have enough Dominus traps in the game to just warrant centering meta games around them. That being said, Dominus Purge is the closest thing we have to Ash Blossom right now, but Ash Blossom covers things that Dominus Purge does not cover. Like, summoning from the deck is something that Ash Blossom does that this doesn't do. Sending from the deck is something very strong that Ash Blossom prevents, that Dominus Purge doesn't stop. And yeah, it's just way too versatile of a card to ignore just the warrant and play out of it. So yeah, like there's not much I need to say. I kind of want to compare this with other strong hand traps, like Retaliating Sea is a good example. We already saw the Molcharmies. A few other ones would be Droll and Lockbird. There is Nibiru, and there's also Dimension Shifter. I think Dimension Shifter is going to be its own episode. But my final consensus with Ash Blossom, or at least a consensus with Ash Blossom in general, is that I understand where people are coming from when they say they don't want this card to be hit, because there is a lot of degeneracy in the game. But I also understand the frustration behind the Molcharmy debate and whether or not this card should be used to counter them. I don't dislike the existence of Molcharmies. I think Molcharmies are something that is made in an environment to just help going second strategies. However, Molcharmies are not a perfect solution. The sad thing about Molcharmies is that it does not punish the combo deck if they are going second, and that's the that is the dichotomy that we have, like, in this metagame. Like, Molcharmies are meant to handle combo decks, but combo decks can also play Molcharmies. Whether it is against another combo deck or another mid-range deck, like there are mid-range decks that actually lose to Molcharmies. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, Radiant Typhoon is a mid-range combo deck, but it loses to Purulia. Exo Sister is a mid-range combo deck that doesn't do a lot of strong boards, but it's very weak to Full Loss, and it's also weak to Purulia. Like, the Odeon strategy, if you're facing against that card is that deck is basically a trap deck, but you can Purulia them and you're getting at least more than one draw out of it if they do all their optimal plays. I don't know if we are done with Molcharmies. They might make Molcharmies for monsters that are summoned with spell cards, or maybe they'll make a Molcharmy that punishes your opponent from adding cards, and that would be their draw replacement. Right now, Ash Blossom is a very hot debate. I think the Ash Blossom debate is as strong as the Droll and Lockbird debate, and Droll and Lockbird has been around in the game for a very long time. This card has been around for around 15 years, and Konami actually decided to put it in the Forbidden Limited list. So, will Ash Blossom be the next one? Who is to say? My final stance on Ash Blossom, if I have to make a cognitive decision and just bring a conclusion into Ash Blossom right now, is that Ash Blossom does way too many things. And if you've played the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG for as long as I have, Konami has hit cards in the past because of their mass level of utility and popularity, because it just limits deck building. That is an insight that is not just from me, it's an insight that has been from Konami itself in the past. And if we go by that mentality, it's only a matter of time until they do something with Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. That is my conclusion with it, and I hope you guys understand that I don't feel like this card needs to be debated right now. I feel like this is just part of economy or biology or ecosystem in this game, then we just kind of have to accept. The moment this card actually gets hit on the list is where the real debate starts flowing around. It already got hit in 2 regions. But to be fair, the OCG does not have Drone Leopard in their list yet. But yeah, these are my shower thoughts. Feel free to comment down below what you think about Ash Blossom and whether or not this card is warranted to be in the Forbidden Limited list. That's it from me. Keep practicing and keep rolling.